फितरत नवा पर बे मजबूर करती है। अभी महफिल में है शायद कोई दर्द आशना बाकी, दिलों में वलवले आफाक कीरी के नहीं उठते, निगाहों में अगर पैदा न हो अंदाज आफाकी।
नहमदुहु व नसल्ली अला रसूलिहिल करीम व आलिहि ताहिरीन, अम्मा बाद फ़ाऊज़ बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम, बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन, वस्सलातु वस्सलामु अला सय्यिदिल अंबियाइ वल मुरसलीन व खातिमिन नबिय्यीन अबिल क़ासिम मुहम्मद,
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद वअज्जिल फरजहुम
व आलिहि तय्यबीन अत्ताहिरीन अलमुंतजबीन अलमासूमीन अलमज़लूमीन अल्लज़ीना अज़हबल्लाहु अन्हुमुर रिज्सा व तहहरहुम तत्हीरा।
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद वअज्जिल फरजहुम
व लअनतुल्लाहि अला आदाइहिम अजमईन मिन यौमि हाज़ा इला यौमिद्दीन। अम्मा बाद फ़क़द क़ालल्लाहु सुब्हानहु व तआला फ़ी क़ुरआनिहिल मजीद व फ़ुरक़ानिहिल हमीद, अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम, बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। The month of Ramadan, in which was revealed the Quran, a guidance for mankind and clear proofs of the guidance, and the criterion of right and wrong. And whosoever of you is present, let him fast the month, and whosoever of you is sick or on a journey, let him fast the same number of days. Allah desireth for you ease, He desireth not hardship for you, and He desireth that you should complete the period, and that you should magnify Allah for having guided you, and that pre-adventure you may be thankful. Sadaqallahu al-aliyyul azim wa sadaqa rasuluhu an-nabiyyul kareem. Salawat Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa'ajjil farajahum.
First and foremost, a very special and warm and celebratory welcome and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone watching at home on my behalf, and of course I'm sure you've already heard, and Hasnan's behalf as well, who's joining me today to help me tell you, in fact no, we'll go into that later, but I'm sure you've already heard today's opening ayah, and if you've remembered from our previous programs, it is the 185th ayah of Surah Baqarah. And in today's show, we will be focusing on that bit of this ayah where it says, where Allah Almighty has said that when you complete this period, He desires for you to complete the period of the month of Ramadan. And that's because we are now reaching the end of Ramadan. We are going into the stages of Eid, as you could probably tell by our get-up today. But as well as that, we still have a few crucial days of fasting left among us and left with us. And in today's show, as I was going to mention earlier, Hasnan is going to help me tell you what we have to do within these 3 days. For example, Hasnan, when you're revising for an exam, I'm sure you did your SATs, I think.
Yeah.
So I think it's the biggest exam you've ever done, but it's not like a really big exam. But when you are revising for exams, you start off revising subjects, and then when you near the deadline of the exam, you revisit the subjects and you re-revise them and you work harder. It doesn't work like you just start working hard and then your efforts go down the hill when the exam time comes. It doesn't work like that. Rather, it's the opposite way round. When the exam time and the deadline is about to come, people rush and they try and cram everything in. They go over everything they've learnt beforehand.
It's like a race.
I'm sure every young person watching at home, especially Stan as well, could relate to that. But as well as that, what we can learn from that, the reason I'm telling you this is because likewise, in this month of Ramadan, when we're reaching the last few days, we have to remember, we have to go over all the stuff that we have talked about in the last 3 programs, I believe. Last 3 programs in the month of Ramadan. And if you can't remember it, then I don't blame you, but We are going to go over it for your benefit once again. But as well as that, we have to remember that we are now in the last few days of not only Ramadan, of course, but also in the last few days of the last Ashra of the holy month of Ramadan. And that is the Ashra Nijat-e-Nar-e Jahannam, which is salvation from the hellfire. So in today's meeting, we will not only be, remembering the virtues of Ramadan, remembering what we have to try and aim for, the virtues, the pious deeds, patience, piety. Yours is abstaining from greed?
Yeah, greed.
Abstaining from greed. Not only the virtues we have to reiterate, which we learned during the month of Ramadan, but also we have to remember to continue them on even after the month of Ramadan has gone by. And that is the most essential thing. And before we go on to do any of that, I will request everyone watching at home to join me in the recitation of Dua Faraj after I recite you that hadith, which I'm sure you already know, you should have memorized by heart by now, which is our daily part of our show. And that is the hadith, the saying of Imam Zamana, Ajralallahu Ta'ala Farajhum, that he, Ajralallahu Ta'ala Farajhum, has said, "Rest assured that no one has a special relationship with Allah. Whosoever denies me is not my follower. The appearance of the relief of Al-Faraj depends solely upon Allah Almighty. Therefore, those who propose a certain time for my appearance are liars. As to the benefit of my existence in occultation, in ghaibat, it is like the benefit of the sun behind the clouds, where the eyes do not see. Indeed, my existence is an amnesty for the people of the earth. Therefore, pray much to Allah to hasten the relief, to make it come quicker, for therein also lies the release from all your sufferings. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajhum." Now I request everyone watching at home and of course Hasnain to raise your hands and join me in the recitation of Dua Faraj.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajhum. Allahumma kulli waliyaka Hujjat ibn al-Hasan, salawatuka alayhi wa ala abai. في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم.
O Allah, for your vicegerent, the proof, the son of Al-Hasan, send your blessings on him and on his forefathers, in this hour and in every hour. Be for him a guardian, a protector, a leader, a helper, a proof and an eye, until you make him live on the earth in obedience to you, and allow him to live therein for a long time. With your mercy, O most merciful of the merciful. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajhum. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajhum. Now, before we recited Dua Faraj, we were talking about reiterating the message of Ramadan, and that is not only the virtues of actually fasting and the virtues of the days of fasting, but also the values in our character that we should learn and input during the month of Ramadan. But the last thing which I mentioned, which I'm sure you remembered, but the people at home may have forgotten, is that the most important thing is that we need to continue these efforts even after the month of Ramadan has gone by. Unfortunately, well, rather you can say fortunately, it is a benefit of Ramadan that everyone, even during the month of Ramadan, everyone, even those who usually do not pray, who usually do not recite Quran, who usually do not worship Allah Almighty, and partake in maybe evil wrongdoings and stuff, in the month of Ramadan they stop and they rethink and they follow the practices of Islam by the rule book, you can say. So likewise, what we have to portray to you at home, and what you have to portray to others you meet, is that this should not only be a momentary and ad hoc value, to say a temporary values of ours. We should try and continue this throughout the year. And we should, of course, I'm not saying that everyone at home should start fasting throughout the year, because although if you could do that, that'd be great, it is extremely hard. What I'm saying is the good virtues, like a lot of people start praying namaz on time, a lot of people start reading Quran, a lot of people abstain from doing things which are sins which are forbidden. If we can continue them on, if not 100%, but maybe start with small steps, as they say, and continue them on right on until we reach Ramadan again the next year, as they say New Year's resolution in when it's New Year's January.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah, when it's New Year's Eve, you make New Year's resolution. This can be a Ramzan resolution, not Eid resolution. But as well as that, if you've remembered, and Hasnan, if you've remembered, you said whilst I was talking that it's almost like a race, the last few days of Ramadan. And what Hasnan, I'm sure, means by that, and he won't mind me explaining, is that, for example, when you're running a marathon, 26 miles or so, I think, 26 miles or kilometers, I'm not sure. Yeah. So you're running, and what you do is you pace yourselves out during the start. So let's say the first 20 kilometers you start pacing yourself, then later on you speed up a bit, maybe until the 25th, 26th, 25th and a half, and then when you have that last stretch, as you say, that last, when you can see the finish line, you push yourself. That is when you have to push yourself so you can get the highest position, the highest ranking, the highest place in the race. And likewise, what we have to do within these last 1, 2, 3, 4 days is we have to push ourselves. We have to, now that we can see the finish line, which is of course Eid al-Fitr, we have to push ourselves during these last days of Ramadan to attain its full, virtues and full blessings. Like, when you have a sponge full of water and you squeeze it as hard as you can to get rid of all the water. That's what we have to do with the last few days of Ramadan. We have to take the most from it. And to help you do that, I have decided today that we will be not only recapping what we have already learned, which is especially to do with the virtue of patience and also the virtues of fasting in general, but we'll also be talking about what it means to attain taqwa. And what is taqwa? It is piety, and for many of you who may not know what piety is actually the quality of being religious or reverent when worshipping Allah Almighty. But as I mentioned a few minutes ago, that Eid al-Fitr is just around the corner. And as I'm sure you all know, Eid al-Fitr is when Ramadan comes to an end and the next month after Ramadan begins. And to tell you what that month is, and to not only tell you that month, but the whole wide range of all the months in Islam, I'll ask Hasnan to please recite the months of Islam. Of course, I'll be supporting him if you know them at home. It's very important that you join in as well. If you don't know them at home, then listen earnestly and try and learn them, so you can also take part. But I request Hasnan to recite those after a salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Muharram, Safar, Rabiul Awwal, Rabiul Thani, these are the months of Islam. Jamadiul Awwal, Jamadiul Thani, Rajab and Sha'ban. Ramadan, Ramadan, Ramadan and Shawwal. Zulhijjah and Zulhijjah, these are the months of Islam. Muharram, Safar, Rabiul Awwal, Rabiul Thani, these are the months of Islam. Jamadiul Awwal, Jamadiul Thani, Rajab and Sha'ban. Ramadan, Ramadan, Ramadan and Shawwal. Zulqa'dah and Zulhijjah, these are the months of Islam. Muharram, Safar, Rabiul Awwal, Rabiul Thani, these are the months of Islam. Jamadiul Awwal, Jamadiul Thani, Rajab and Sha'ban. Ramadan, Ramadan, Ramadan and Shawwal. Zulqa'dah and Zulhijjah,
These are the months of Islam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajhum.
So I'm sure you must have learned that we are going to be entering the month of Shawwal. So for that reason, what we have to do is we have to recap all the virtues, all the stuff we have learned during the month of Ramadan. But something that I failed to mention, that I couldn't mention due to lack of time in the first 3 programs in Ramadan, was the virtue of taqwa, was the virtue of piety. And today what we have to focus on is how to attain taqwa, which is piety, I'm sure, as I've mentioned quite a few times now, and that is the quality of being religious or reverent. Now Allah Almighty says in the Holy Quran, O you who believe, fasting has been prescribed to you as it has been prescribed for people before you, so that you will learn how to attain taqwa. This is in Surah Baqarah, ayah number 183. So, for any person wondering at home why I've decided to talk about piety, why I've decided to talk about taqwa, it's because of this ayah. Allah Almighty says that fasting has been prescribed to you so that you will learn how to attain taqwa. So, when we are fasting in these last few days, if we can, even in those days, try and attain piety, try and attain, taqwa, which is the highest, level, ranking, status, stage of faith and belief in Allah Almighty. And indeed, the person who has attained taqwa has attained excellence in the worship of his or her Lord. Now, in many, numerous ayat, it is said that the reward for those who have attained taqwa is paradise. And there are actually 2 ayah in regard of the success of people of taqwa and the reward of paradise in if you want to go into specifics. And those ones, Allah Almighty, I'll just recite one of them. Allah Almighty says in the Holy Quran, this is the book. In it is guidance, sure without doubt to the muttaqeen. And there you go. This is a guidance without doubt to those who are with taqwa. Muttaqeen means people of taqwa, people of piety, who believe in the unseen, are steadfast in prayers. This ayah is not telling us the high virtue of being piety, of being, having taqwa, having piety, but also how to attain it. So the people with piety are those who believe in the unseen, are steadfast in prayer. Now what does it mean, sorry to interrupt the ayah again, but what does it mean to believe in the unseen? It doesn't just mean to believe in Allah Almighty, but it means to never have doubt in your faith, to never have, any sort of hindrance whilst praying, whilst worshipping Allah Almighty. Are steadfast in their prayers and spend out of what we have provided for them, and who believe in the revelations sent to thee and sent before thy time, and in their hearts have the assurance of the hereafter. This is again a crucial belief, to have the faith in the hereafter and the faith of Islam. They are on the true guidance from their Lord, and it is these who are the successful. This is again Surah Baqarah 1 to number 5. So I'll leave you with these few ayahs, I should say, for a short while to ponder over, to think about it, to reminisce, and inshallah, whilst we think about these few ayahs, I will ask Hasnan to talk about one of the virtues that is said here in the ayah, which is said that they should spend out of that which we have provided for them. For them. And what does this mean? Spending that which we have provided for them. This doesn't mean to be, spendthrift, as you say, be easy with your money, to buy everything and, every possession, worldly possession you can find.
You're bankrupt.
Exactly. That's not the point. The point is to spend honestly, to earn honestly, to spend in a contained manner, and the rest not to be greedy, but on the other hand to give. So to give us an example, I have with me joined Brother Hussain Anwar Chaudhry, and he has a story about greed and why we should abstain from it, especially during the months of Ramadan, last few days I should say of Ramadan, and even in the upcoming months especially. So I'll request Hussain to recite that after a salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajhum. the negative results of greed. Isa alayhi salam was once traveling with a Jew. He had 3 pieces of gold with him, which he handed to the Jew and said, "Keep this gold safe. It will surely be useful in times of need." The Jew spent 1 piece of gold. Isa alayhi salam later asked for the pieces, and the Jew only presented 2 pieces. When he was asked about the 3rd piece, the Jew lied and insisted that he had only given him 2 pieces. Isa alayhi salam remained quiet and continued the journey with him. On the way, Isa alayhi salam showed numerous miracles, with the Jew witness too. Isa alayhi salam made the Jew take on an oath, and once again asked him where the 3rd piece of gold was. Again the Jew lied and insisted there were only 2 pieces. Later on in the journey, Isa alayhi salam acquired 3 more pieces of gold. He told the Jew, "1 piece is for me, 1 is for you, and the final piece is for who he spent the 3rd original piece of gold." The Jew quickly spoke up and said, "It was me who spent the 3rd piece of gold." Isa alayhi salam gave him 2 pieces of gold and said, "You must leave my company." Despite witnessing amazing miracles and witnessing the power of Allah, you could not admit spending the 3rd piece of gold. It was only when I offered you an additional piece that you admitted spending the gold. Therefore, we cannot continue the journey together." The Jew parted the company. It was not long before 3 bandits crossed the path of the Jew. They killed him and they took the pieces of gold from him. 2 of the bandits sent the 3rd to the bazaar to purchase some food for all of them. Whilst he was gone, the 2 bandits decided to kill the 3rd on his return, and thus take his share of the gold. But the 3rd bandit had also made the similar plans. He decided to poison the food for the other 2, so he could take their share of the gold. When the 3rd bandit returned, the other 2 killed him and began eating the 3rd bandit's food. They too soon died because of the poison in the food. Isa alayhi salam passed by and was most astonished to see the Jew had been killed, along with 3 bandits. Then Jibreel alayhi salam descended from the heavens and told Isa alayhi salam what had happened. The moral of the story is that the story clearly shows the results of lying, deceit, and taking something illegally. A person who lies and steals the wealth of others deceitfully and illegitimately will reap nothing but loss and destruction. Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjahum.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjahum. So not only did that, first and foremost, thank you very much, but not only did that story tell us the importance of abstaining from greed, and, abstaining from hasad, as they say, from greed and from the love of money, but it also teaches us that every action of ours has a repercussion, as you can say, every action has an opposite reaction, you can say. So every thing that we do. Although sometimes you may think, for example, I'm sure there are a lot of school children watching at home, I'm sure they must have experienced it, when you do think you get away with something in class and you think, oh wow, I'm so clever, I just got away with that, no one saw me do it. And yet you may not know, someone might have seen you. The camera, CCTV camera might have seen you, and therefore later on you will get its repercussion, you will get its punishment.
Yeah.
And likewise, the bandits, the Jew thought that he'd taken the money, no one would know, and then when he was caught in the trap, well, not the trap, the greed that he was prone to, he fell for his own, greed and his own mistake, and he got caught, and then he eventually got killed. So, thank you very much, Isnan. But I would like to say to you people watching at home, to everyone watching at home, that this story is not just, a willy-nilly thing, just not something that should go in one ear and come out the other ear, but it's something that we have to learn for, something that we have to try and attain its benefits from. Of course, these are negative examples that we learn in this story. What we have to do is strive to not be like them, and to strive to not be like them, not only in these last few days of Ramadan, but also in the upcoming months, I should say, singular, and all the rest upcoming months after Shawwal. And whilst I leave you to think and ponder over this story, I'll request everyone to take a short break whilst reciting salawat, and rejoin me in very short few minutes, and don't go anywhere whilst you do that. So, allow me to have a little break, and you as well, a little breather, and recite salawat and think about the story whilst we join in a few minutes. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajhum.
कि मेरी जिंदगी क्या है, यही तुग़यान मुश्ताक़ी, यही तुग़यान मुश्ताक़ी। मुझे फितरत नवा पर पै बपै मजबूर करती है, अभी महफिल